Sam, welcome back to Cardiff. It's another year here for yourself. How does it feel to be back?
Feels great. Yeah, it's Cardiff's become home for me. No, it feels very good to be back and excited for another year.
We've done a fair few of these welcome interviews, and it feels strange. We can't call you a young guy anymore. You're one of the more established guys in the room now, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think coming in as a 20-year-old, there was a lot to learn and quite a lot of older guys around me. It was quite an older team back then. So being kind of like a little older now, 26, getting on a bit. But no, it's good to have that experience of being in a club for that long. I think I'm very proud to be a part of it and excited for the new guys to come in and see some returning faces too. So very excited.
Please don't ever say you're getting on a bit when you say 26.
No, I shouldn't say that.
We're still not that old. But you mentioned being in the room, and you're a vocal guy. You've always been kind of a guy who's willing to kind of say what you think, and that's been one of the good things about your leadership, especially as you've kind of grown into that role. And is that something, again, that you've enjoyed this year and you've kind of taken on? You wore an A again, and it's kind of a role that you really embrace.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always been a part of my character to kind of be more vocal than others maybe, but I think probably over the last couple of years I've learned to maybe you don't have to be vocal all the time, and I think that was a big learning point for me coming through the first couple of years here is sometimes it's best to show your leadership through the way you act and the way you play, and that speaks louder than words. I'm always going to be a louder voice in the locker room, and I like to joke around and keep it light when the time's right. But definitely, I think it's been a great learning curve for me to have that leadership role and to learn from guys that have been in that position for many years, like Marty and Richie, and McWilliam last year was a great guy to be around to see how he kind of led the group. And I'm still trying to pick up things where I can and build that side of my personality and style of play.
You mentioned Marty and Richie. Those are two guys who've won C's for this club. They've captained this team. Is that anything do you ever give any thought to that, about maybe one day wearing that C for the Devils?
Yeah, I think it's something I'd love to do, and it's something that I would take a lot of pride in. But I don't think about it, more than anything else. To be honest, I think I try and focus on every year coming in and just staying true to how I am as a player and as a person. But absolutely, I would be lying if I didn't say that one day throughout my career I would love to lead a team. But that's not my call either. That's the coaches, management. It's nothing to do with me. So it's but definitely I feel that I would just keep doing what I was doing in that situation. And I think we've had so many great leaders here, through my time. Morissette, my first year, and then Marty and Richie since then. It's those guys do a stellar job of leading the group and how they kind of carry themselves, and that's a great position to learn from.
As we kind of reflect back on last year, it was a really successful year. The Devils took the Continental Cup. You were with GB, another promotion with them. How do you reflect on last year?
Yeah, I think it was. It took quite a lot of reflecting, to be honest. At the end of the season, it was. It didn't feel. I think after GB, because it was such a quick turnaround after our season here with the Devils and then going away with GB, I didn't really have time to. None of us that were away in Romania really had time to kind of dwell on how the season ended or what happened throughout the season. But since then I've had the chance to kind of decompress and have a good think about the year as a whole. And it was crazy. I think we obviously were very proud to lift the Continental Cup, and that was something that we set out at the start of the season, and that was one of our goals, and it was great to achieve that. And then, I think there was a few things out of our control, due to injuries, and, injuries happen. But I mean, I've never seen kind of what we went through last year. It was crazy. And then with some different travel disasters, basically, like where a bus is breaking down, and they're not excuses, but at the end of the day, I don't think it helped in the long run with what happened with the league. But then playoffs was obviously an emotional roller coaster too, and I just think through it all, I feel like as a whole, as a team, as an organisation, we definitely learned a lot, and I think that's the only way you can look at it now is, you don't focus on the negatives, you focus on, how we push through certain parts of adversity, and I think take that forward into next season is what we're going to be aiming to do, and I know for a fact that that's already happening now, is we're making adjustments and trying to, find solutions to certain things that, are going to help us do what we want to do in terms of being successful throughout a full season. And then ending it on GB, it was a nice high to finish on, for sure.
I remember this time last year, we were sitting in a very similar spot, and I said to you, I was almost surprised to see you back with the Devils, and I said I thought that you might have gone elsewhere to seek more minutes. I don't feel that way this season, and I think that is testament to the way that your game evolved throughout the year and kind of took that step up. Do you see that the kind of same way?
Yeah, I think it definitely, the way the season before last went, as a group and personally, I think it did light a fire under a lot of guys. And, you try and take those, like I just said, you try and take those, maybe negatives or points where you were feeling down or low. You're trying to use that to the best of your ability to become stronger, to become, better. And I think I did a good job of that last year. I kind of used it as fuel and tried to, utilize it to make myself a better player and better person. So I feel like I did a good job of that, and was pretty happy with how last year went on a personal note. But always kind of looking to take that next step as well. So.
What does that next step look like for you personally?
It's tough. It's tough to say that now. I think in the past I've worried probably maybe too much about that, and it's kind of become a bit of a hindrance. But I'm just gonna, focus on having a really good summer again. I think I had a good summer last year in terms of, putting in work and ironing out some things that I wanted to iron out, on the ice and off the ice as well. So just to do that again and really just keep working, really. I think that's all I can do. And that's all I'm planning to do and see where the chips fall.
We've seen you just this morning out on the ice with Joey Martin, and it is kind of about developing those little bits and pieces in the off season to then use them when you get back to it. Yeah,
definitely. I think being on the ice with having Marty here all summer, and not just him, but Richie, Benny D, Bouncy, and all those boys. I think it's very important that we have that in the summer too, kind of like a little group of us that can kind of get on the ice and just us and work on those little things and nerd out a little bit on your skill work and different things like that. So, and I said to Joe when we got onto the ice today, there's not much a better feeling than getting out onto the ice when it's just you and a couple of others, and it's a fresh sheet of ice, and you've just got an hour to work on little things. It's a chance to work on things that you don't really get a chance to work on throughout the season, with the schedule being how it is. And so I think the summer's such an important time to work on that stuff, to develop that stuff, and having guys around like we do is a huge help too.
As we look ahead to next season, Paul Thompson is arriving as Devils coach. And I had a little look, and you are one of only two guys, when you do play under Tomo, you will have played under every single coach since Andrew Lord. And you and Richie, the only guys who've done that. So, are you excited again for kind of a new approach, a new challenge with a guy that you've never played under before, but the reputation comes, and it's obviously a good one?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to work with Tomo. From the chats I've had with him already, I think it's very encouraging. He seems like he's going to, push the group and to how we need to be pushed, and also take care of that personal side of things, and from player to player. And I think that's very important. Super excited. I think the fans should be really jacked up to see a new style, a different style, because each coach will bring in, new players and new systems. And I think, it's an exciting time ahead for the club.
You spoke about how last season, maybe things like fixture congestion and being a very busy season made it, obviously that was another kind of element that made it a bit more difficult. This coming year is the first year in a decade where the Devils haven't had European hockey of any kind throughout the season. It's the first season you will have played without any European hockey of any kind. Does that light a fire under you? Does it to get back to that position, even though it makes it a grind? You want to be in those situations playing that European hockey?
Yeah, absolutely. I think have been able to experience a lot of European hockey through my time in Cardiff so far has been such a great experience through the CHL and the Continental Cup. I think it's been amazing to because you get to see how you match up against different teams around Europe, and that's exciting. I think it's exciting for the players, exciting for fans to see. But yeah, I think the big one here is the league, right? And I think we all know the winner of the league gets that CHL spot. So the league is our top priority. Any trophy is great to win, but we're in it for the slog, I think. And so I'd say that's enough motivation as it is to do well domestically and bring as many trophies as we can back to Cardiff, and then see where we end up with Europe after that.
Finally, do you just have a message to Devils fans ahead of I know you said that trophies are the goal, but just a message to those guys ahead of the new season?
Yeah, excited to see everyone back in the arena. I think everyone kind of gets to this point of the summer and is itching to get back watching some hockey. So Joey Martin's testimonial next weekend, which will be fun. See some old faces. I'm sure that'll be great for the fans. And I think just excited to see everyone back and hearing the building rocking again. It's honestly, I know people probably hear it every year, through these interviews and stuff like that, but it really does make such a difference for us when the crowd's involved, when the crowd's loud, and we appreciate, what, people do for us off the ice. And it really is. So keep being the sixth or seventh man on the ice, and we'll see you in August.
Dougie, we're excited to have you back. Thank you very much for your time, mate.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.